Bitcoin is surging again. But why? Which countries are stuck in the most BTC? And most importantly, which cryptocurrency could be the next BTC? What's up, YouTube? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are good. Hope you guys are living right. Welcome back to another video. If you guys are new around here, make sure you hit this subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you can be alerted every time I drop a new video. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 2025 has been a great year for cryptocurrencies at large, hands down. This has never happened before. This is the only year, this is the only bull market where 90% of people don't think cryptocurrency is a scam. This is very new. We're going to talk about what has led to the surge of this cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin market. What has led to this surge? What countries and governments are holding the most of it? And most importantly, which cryptocurrency could be the next Bitcoin? Bitcoin was created by Satoshi Nakamoto, who is basically an alias that nobody even knows till now. Why has Bitcoin been surging all across? Why has it been growing from $1 to now over $116,000 just for one Bitcoin? That is crazy. So some of the main reasons why Bitcoin has been surging to the moon is due to its scarcity and its halving. Now, I'm going to explain these two terms so you guys can understand. Bitcoin is very scarce. What that simply means is that it has a limited supply of 21 million coins. As I speak to you today, around 19.9 million coins are currently in circulation and being used by you and I, holding by governments and big institutions like BlackRock. BlackRock is an institution all the way from the United States that has over trillions of dollars under asset management. A few months ago, BlackRock decided to add Bitcoin on its balance sheet. That also led to its surge in growth. Now we're going to talk about the halving. So, as I was saying, Bitcoin has a fixed supply of 21 million coins. Unlike fiat currency, which can be printed, every 4 years, the block reward halves, also called the halving. This slows the rate of new Bitcoin entering the circulation. Basically, every 4 years, the Bitcoin supply is cut in half. It slows the pace at which Bitcoins are entering the market, or rather circulating amongst the people. Our first halving ever was in 2009, and I'm going to use this chart for illustration purposes. Let me just do this. Supply of Bitcoin cut in the following terms. From 2012, you would probably make from 50 to 25 BTC per block. In 2016, 25 to 12.5 BTC per block. In 2020, 12.5 to about 6.25 BTC per block. And then it kept reducing. It kept cutting in half until there is nothing left. As I speak to you today, there are around 1.1 million Bitcoins that still have to be mined. But truth be told, in order for you to mine those Bitcoins, you would probably need tens of millions of dollars. And that's the reason why only large institutions are doing this in Iceland, large institutions out in China, large institutions out in the United States, you're doing this. But even in Zambia, there's something I saw on the BBC where they're using solar and hydro electricity to power our Bitcoin machinery. I'm just not sure where exactly, but we can look it up on the internet once we're done with this. Gentlemen, so that was just a quick illustration of the chat in terms of the Bitcoin halving. But now I'm going to show you guys on my trading view how Bitcoin has been surging. It's been surging because I need you guys to understand that. This Bitcoin we're talking about, that's today worth over 116,000 just for one Bitcoin. You guys need to understand that once upon a time, in 2010, in the years 2010, 2009, there was a time Bitcoin was just worth $1. And another time, Bitcoin was worth over $1,000 just for one Bitcoin. Another time in 2018, when one Bitcoin was worth $12,000. What I'm basically trying to tell you is, if you learned about Bitcoin in 2017, or let's just say 2016, when it was around $1,000. If you learn about Bitcoin in 2016 when it was below $2,000, and then you decided to buy 5 Bitcoins, you decided to buy 5 Bitcoins, which would have probably costed you $5,000, right? Today, ladies and gentlemen, in 2025, 1 Bitcoin would have been worth over $116,000. If you want to know how much you would have had, you can multiply $116,000 times 5, times 5 Bitcoin. That's crazy. That's how much you'd have had. You'd have made over $600,000 in the space of a few years. It was the same Bitcoin that was worth $10,000 in 2016 is the same Bitcoin that was worth $50,000 in 2022. The same Bitcoin. In 2022, if you decided to buy 2 Bitcoins, only 2 Bitcoins, that of course is $100,000, only two. Today, you'd have had over $200,000, over $230,000 in profit. That's 100+X in terms of your profit cap. That's what Bitcoin has been doing for people over these many years. Okay. Now that most of you people have understood, everybody that has been living under a rock has probably understood. Now we're going to talk about the different companies and the different governments. All these governments, by the way, were very much against the cryptocurrency boom. It was like technology. You know, when phones started, people thought, okay, this is crazy. How are we going to use this? When ATMs were introduced to places like Africa here, you find that people would ask themselves, how can money come out from the wall? You know, people were always perplexed when electronic money came about, which is now the mobile money services we all use today, things that we're used with. People kept asking themselves, how the hell is money going to be on the phone? Those times were crazy. Today, the surge is in cryptocurrency. More people are beginning to understand. More people are beginning to get involved. Innovation begins here. Now, we're going to read this little article from, is it invest.com? I think this is invest.com. I usually like to check invest.com. If you guys haven't seen my videos on financial literacy, this is basically a financial literacy video. It's not financial advice. It's basically you grasping upon some information and taking that information, making sure you do your own research, your own due diligence, and then you can take a risk if you so wish. It's 100% your choice. I'm just here to educate. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at an article because we're also trying to find out. Already, we know over 19.9 million Bitcoin are in circulation, which simply means around 1.1 million Bitcoins haven't still been mined and are yet to be mined by you and I, or rather these larger institutions. Because those are the people that are able to afford these mining equipments. A mining computer would cost you $3,000 to $10,000 each. But guess what? You need hundreds of them, which simply means you're going to need an investment of probably tens of millions or hundreds of thousands of dollars just for you to mine a sip of that coin. Take a look at the different countries that currently hold Bitcoin. So top governments, these are actually governments. Governments have been holding Bitcoin, and this is actually a very smart move for the US. As you guys can see, Bitcoin's top governments by Bitcoin's holdings. This is just governments. This is not institutions. BlackRock is from America. MicroStrategy is from America. These guys are buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin every single day. And probably today on their balance sheets, it's billions upon billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, these guys. MicroStrategy, BlackRock, just to mention a few. There are so many. You guys should do your research. So, by government, the United States government being the largest holder of Bitcoin, obviously this came from a lot of repossessing, a lot of companies that were situated in the United States and were not following their laws. Companies like FTX, a whole bunch of others that have been underlisted and have and the government has repossessed their crypto. So the United States government currently has a little over 198,000 Bitcoin. This could estimate to billions of dollars, ladies and gentlemen, because the way you calculate Bitcoin, if the United States has that much in Bitcoin, you multiply that by the current price of Bitcoin, because this is the number of Bitcoins that they have. Previously, I was talking about buying 2 Bitcoins. No, that's just you and me. You're just buying two. The government of America has bought over 198,000 Bitcoins. Remember, just 1 Bitcoin was once worth $1. 1 Bitcoin was once worth $1 once upon a time. And there's still other crypto coins out there that are only worth less than $5 still. So there might be still a chance for you and I. A huge chance, I tell you. Comment down below. Let's look at China. Oh yeah, you see? So estimatedly, the value of the Bitcoins that the American government, or Trump's government, is currently holding is $22.5 billion. That's a lot. And it's still growing because remember, these are kind of assets that attract value because they are very scarce. As Bitcoin keeps getting mined, the value of Bitcoin will keep increasing. Okay? China, on the other hand, these guys are never left behind. China is always on top of its game. China currently holds probably over 190,000 Bitcoin, which is an estimated value of $22.5 billion. Apart from that, you also have countries in Europe, the UK, Ukraine. Ukraine is holding $5.5 billion. I'm expecting Russia. Russia probably holds, but that's just no public information. So we have North Korea. North Korea is currently holding 13,562 Bitcoins, an estimated value of 1.6 billion. So what I'm basically trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that governments and institutions have already seen the way, and they have been buying Bitcoin. But there really is an upside to this whole movement. There's an upside to hold this movement. You see, let's give an example of the United States. If the United States decides to sell even 50%, let's just put it out loud, 50%, or maybe even 30% of the Bitcoins that they have, truth be told, the market is going to plummet. It's going to plummet. It's going to fall probably a little below $100,000. Probably not a little below. It's going to fall below $100,000, but guaranteed it's not going to plummet all across until zero, because there are other players, other big players that are still holding cryptocurrencies, other big players that are still holding Bitcoin. There's so many. So even if America decides to sell, which would probably be a dumb idea, they sell the coins and the price of Bitcoin reaches $50,000. Guess what? Other countries like China, other countries like Russia, other countries like even African countries today. I heard on the news, Ghana is looking at buying and having a crypto reserve in their country, which is also a smart move. It's a smart move to have. It's better to keep the coins. I strongly believe Zambia might also have a crypto reserve, but they just haven't. It's just something that's not really public yet. But that's information that I would love to learn. Remember, knowledge is power, and that's the reason why you guys are watching this video. This video is for you to gain some knowledge. Once you gain this knowledge, this is life. Life is all about grasping knowledge, get knowledge from here, get knowledge from there, and later implement. That's why you guys go to college, or that's why we go to college, sorry. That's why we go to college, is to learn. When you learn, you earn. It's basic science. It's basic common sense. It's not even science, it's just basic common sense. The more you learn, the more you earn. You see? Grasp upon knowledge, implement, make some bread. That's exactly how it goes. So I was saying, if the United States government decided to sell even 50% of their holdings, would see the market fall. Well, that's a good thing. You see, crypto is a scarce market, and that's a great thing. So once the market falls, more people are going to buy in. More people are going to buy in. Believers are going to buy in. And best believe that even if you don't buy now, there's going to be a time when people and governments and large institutions, when they start to realize the power of this technology, they're going to be buying one Bitcoin at $200,000, one Bitcoin at $500,000. Those guys would probably be late. These people or these institutions will be buying Bitcoins from individuals that have been holding, from institutions that are buying now, and from governments that have been holding and also buying. That's where the Bitcoin is going to be, because it's very scarce now. It just belongs to certain people, and you as an institution, or you as an individual, will need to look for it from these people and buy it from those people at whatever price it's selling at. That's crazy. Now we're going to talk about what could possibly be the next Bitcoin. Remember, like I said, a lot of people right now cannot afford to buy even one Bitcoin because it's worth over $100,000. But guess what? There are over 7 million coins on the planet. And it's up to you and I to recognize which one could be the next Bitcoin, which one could surge next from $1 to $1,000 to $10,000 and possibly to $100,000. Again, do your own research. This is no financial advice. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the crypto market overview and see what kind of coins we have. What kind of coins are we working with? What kind of coins have been there? So as you guys can see, Ethereum, obviously a large player in the game. Ethereum, a large player in the game. I hold a lot of ETH. It's a good player. XRP is something that I started holding. In case you guys are new to my channel and just recently started following me, I've made thousands, okay, not thousands, probably like 100 videos on cryptocurrency, crypto trading, what is Bitcoin, how does it work, such and such, ABC. Today, we're just doing a little recap. Okay, so on my trading view, you guys can see the different types of cryptocurrencies, and I strongly advise you guys to use TradingView as you're doing your own research on this. Also use other, obviously, use other sites to do your research. And one thing you have to pay attention to as you're doing your research on the different coins are the use cases. Right now, in 2025, I have realized Solana is a currency that's being used every single day on the Solana network. It's crazy. People are creating meme coins, people are creating payment systems, people are creating ABC, etc. There's so many things they're doing. Same as the Ethereum network. I call the Ethereum network the Beth of networks because this is where smart contracts are created. This is where the deals are found. You can literally tokenize real life assets using the Ethereum blockchain network. It's insane. So these different kinds of currencies are what we need to be looking at as a potential surge in the future. What are the use cases and how long can these use cases be sustainable in the real world, in the real universe? This is the real universe. We have to understand how we're going to use these different currencies / tokens to our advantage in the real world. What problem are they solving? What destruction are they eliminating from the way? That is what we need to look at as we're picking the next coin that's going to surge. Yeah, boy. All right, so I've done videos about this already, and for me personally, I'm holding Ethereum, I'm holding XRP, I'm holding Chainlink, Doge. You know, due to the fact that Elon and Trump are not too close anymore, we saw a little decline in the Doge market because the firm promoters for Doge obviously has been Elon Musk. He's added a lot of value to this coin just by talking about it and pushing memes towards it. So there's been a crazy surge. But if you look at XRP, XRP has some serious potential. XRP has some serious potential, and right now, XRP is it the third largest market cap on the crypto market? The third largest market cap. That's insane. So let's see, how much is it? XRP's market cap is $179 billion. Oh, that's crazy. That basically means that's the amount of money that has been traded and exchanged with XRP. 190, let me just say $180 billion. That's a lot of numbers. But compared to cryptocurrency with a market cap of $2.32 trillion, that's the gap is significantly crazy. You see, Bitcoin today has been the second best performing asset of the decade, right next to gold. Right next to gold. In a lot of terms, Bitcoin is also known as the digital gold, by the way. So, ladies and gentlemen, get yourself some crypto. If you cannot afford Bitcoin, buy some XRP. Buy a couple few, maybe two, four, $500 worth of extra XRP and just hold. If you don't know how to trade, that's a whole nother game plan. That's a whole nother thing you guys are going to be doing. If you don't understand trading, I strongly advise you to watch my videos. I've done a lot of videos about this stuff. Questions, you can always put your comments down below and I can always respond. I can always reply. It's all about educating each other. We grasp upon knowledge. Like I said, knowledge is power. So as we go in our daily lives, living our real world universal lives, let us teach each other. Let us learn from each other. And most importantly, the people that do will earn. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot for tuning in today's video. I'll see you guys next week on Financial Literacy Wednesday. Peace.